Close your eyes and think of the quietest place you've ever been. A deep forest, a soundproof room, a quiet bedroom at 3 a.m. For most people, silence is a comforting blanket. But for hundreds of millions of individuals worldwide, true silence does not exist. Mojo taps his glasses as the high-pitched ringing reaches a peak, then abruptly cuts out. What you just heard is a glimpse into what is often called the devil's disorder, tinnitus. It isn't a disease. It's a phantom sound generated entirely inside the dark, winding corridors of your own brain. And today, we are going to look past the myths to see how a simple glitch in your biological microphone can trap you in an endless acoustic prison.
To understand why the ringing starts, we have to look at how you hear. Deep inside your inner ear sits the cochlea. It is lined with roughly 15,000 microscopic, delicate sensory receptors known as hair cells. When sound waves enter your ear, they bend these tiny hairs like grass swaying in the wind. This mechanical movement is converted into electrical signals that your brain interprets as music, speech, or footsteps. The hologram shifts, showing some of the delicate hairs bent, broken, and fraying. But these hairs are fragile. Loud concerts, explosions, or even the slow march of aging can permanently destroy them. And here is where the horror begins. When these hair cells die, they stop sending signals to the auditory cortex of your brain. You would think that means you just hear less. But your brain hates emptiness. When the brain suddenly stops receiving signals from a specific frequency range, say the high notes, it panics. It assumes the microphone is fine, but the volume slider must be turned down too low. So, the auditory cortex cranks up its internal amplifier. It turns up its own neural gain to maximum, desperately trying to listen for a signal that will never come back. Because the internal volume is maxed out, the neurons start misfiring. They begin to chatter spontaneously amongst themselves. Your brain interprets this chaotic neural static as a real, physical sound. Tinnitus is, quite literally, the auditory equivalent of a phantom limb. Your brain is feeling a sound that has already been amputated from the physical world. If it were just a sound, your brain would eventually ignore it. This is a process called habituation. It's the reason you don't constantly feel the clothes touching your skin. But tinnitus sets a psychological trap. When you first hear that constant ring, your brain treats it as a threat. It triggers the amygdala, the emotional alarm system of your body, and floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. Now, your brain learns a terrifying feedback loop. The sound causes stress, and because you're stressed, the brain focuses even harder on the sound to monitor the danger. This is why tinnitus leads to severe insomnia, anxiety, and depression. The disorder isn't just in your ears. It hijacks your entire emotional survival mechanism.
As of today, there is no magic pill to cure tinnitus. You cannot regrow those microscopic hair cells once they are gone. But we aren't completely defenseless. The most effective modern treatments don't try to fix the ear, they retrain the brain. Through sound therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy, we can teach the amygdala to stop panicking. When the brain realizes the sound isn't a threat, it slowly pushes the noise into the background, letting the system habituate. Protect your ears. Because once the phantom moves into your mind, it rarely ever packs its bags to leave. Mojo adjusts his glasses, gives a subtle, respectful nod, and the screen fades to black.